Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are talking about storming of Capitol. Business Land is the Trump privately run company and has forever been how he says he has made his fortune. Thus, I utilize the FTSE NAREIT All Value REITs record. FTSE, Monetary Times, records are painstakingly built, promptly accessible, and venture once more into the 1970s. This one tracks the presentation of land speculation January 6, 2021, following the loss of then U.S. President Donald Trump in the 2020 official political decision. A crowd of his allies went after the U.S. Legislative Center structure in Washington, D.C. The crowd was trying to keep Trump in power by keeping a joint meeting of Congress from counting the electing school votes to formalize the triumph of President-elect Joe Biden. As indicated by the House Select Board of Trustees researching the episode, the assault was the finish of a 7-section plan by Trump to upset the election. 5 individuals passed on either in practically no time previously, during, or following the occasion. 1 was shot by Legislative Hall police, another passed on from a medication excess, and 3 passed on from regular causes. Many individuals were harmed, including 138 cops. 4 officials who answered the assault committed suicide within 7 months. As of July 7, 2022, financial harms brought about by aggressors surpassed $2.7 million. Motivated by Trump, a large number of his allies accumulated in Washington, D.C. on January 5 and 6 to help his misleading case that the 2020 political decision had been taken by encouraged extremist left Democrats, and to request that VP Mike Pence and the Congress reject Biden's victory. Beginning around early afternoon on January 6, at a Save America rally on the Oval, Trump rehashed bogus cases of political race irregularities and said, "If you don't battle like heck, you won't have a country anymore." Notwithstanding encouraging his allies to calmly and energetically fight, Trump likewise included 20 linguistic varieties of battle in his drawn-out speech. During and after his speech, a great many participants, some equipped, strolled to the State House and hundreds penetrated police perimeters as Congress was starting the electing vote count. Over 2,000 agitators entered the building, a significant number of whom involved, vandalized, and looted, attacked Legislative Hall cops and journalists, and endeavored to find legislators to catch and harm. A scaffold was raised west of the Legislative Center, and a few agitators recited "Hang Mike Pence" after he dismissed misleading cases by Trump and others that the VP could upset the political race results. A few vandalized and stole from the workplaces of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, D.C. and different individuals from Congress. With building security penetrated, Legislative Hall police emptied and secured the 2 offices of Congress and a few structures in the Legislative Center complex. Agitators involved the unfilled Senate chamber, while government policemen shielded the cleared House floor. Line bombs were found at every one of the Majority Rule Public Board and Conservative Public Council Central Command, and Molotov mixed drinks were found in a vehicle close to the State House. On trusts, REITs, that put resources into different kinds of business land, workplaces, inns, condos. The list is expansive and expanded, and, critically, is and has been available to speculation by any standard financial backer. Consequently, considering a financial backer in contrast to the film gives credit for picking specific sorts of land comparative with the benchmark and will in this way assess that financial backers' dynamic expertise comparative with the market record of public land. Attempt the president election. Leftist Joe Biden crushed occupant conservative Donald Trump in the 2020 U.S. official election. Trump and different conservatives endeavored to upset the political decision, dishonestly guaranteeing boundless citizen fraud. A screen capture of Donald Trump's own checked Twitter account @RealDonaldTrump. The tweet peruses, in all covers, "I won this political decision by a ton." The tweet was timestamped at 10:36 p.m. on 7 November 2020. The wellspring of the tweet expresses Twitter for iPhone. Trump's tweet soon after surveys had shut. Inside the space of hours after the end of the surveys, while votes were all the while being classified, Trump pronounced a triumph, requesting that further counting be halted. He started a mission to undermine the political race through lawful difficulties and a particular exertion. Trump's attorneys had finished up in no less than 10 days after the political decision that legitimate difficulties to the political decision results had no genuine premise or lawful merit. Regardless of those examinations, he tried to upset the outcomes by starting the documenting of somewhere around 60 claims, including 2 brought to the High Court. Those activities tried to invalidate political decision affirmations and void votes that had been projected for Biden. Those difficulties were completely dismissed by the courts for the absence of proof or the shortfall of lawful standing. Trump then, at that point, mounted a mission to pressure conservative lead representatives and secretaries of endlessly state governing bodies to invalidate results by supplanting records of Biden voters with those proclaimed to best, or by assembling proof of misrepresentation. He further requested that legislators examine apparent political race anomalies, for example, by leading marked matches of sent-in polling forms, ignoring any earlier scientific endeavors. Trump likewise made requests proposing the summon of military regulation to rerun or converse the election and the arrangement of an exceptional insight to track down examples of misrepresentation, despite ends by government and state authorities that such cases were not many and segregated or non-existent. Trump eventually embraced neither step. Trump over and again asked VP Mike Pence to change the outcomes and to prevent Biden from getting down to business. Those activities would generally not have been inside Pence's sacred abilities as VP and leader of the Senate. Trump rehashed this in his meeting discourse on the morning of January 6. Various researchers, students of history, political specialists, and writers have portrayed these endeavors to upset the political race as an endeavor to self-overthrow Trump and execution of the huge falsehood. 1. Planning. Congress was booked to meet mutually on January 6 to guarantee the victory of the electing school vote, ordinarily a stylized affair. In December, Senator Mo Streams, RAL, coordinated 3 White House gatherings between Trump, conservative legislators, and others. Participants included Trump, VP Pence, agents Jody Heiss, RGF, Jim Jordan, R. Gracious, and Andy Biggs, RAZ. Delegate choose Marjorie Taylor Greene, RGF, and individuals from the Trump lawful team. The motivation behind the gatherings was to plan how Congress could upset the political decision results on January 6. On December 18, 4 days after the discretionary school cast a ballot, Trump called for allies to go to a convention before the January 6 legislative vote buildup to proceed with his test of the legitimacy of a few states' political decision results. Trump tweeted, "Large dissent in D.C. on January 6. Be there will be wild." The Walk to Save America and rally that went before the mobs at the State House were at first coordinated by People for America Initial, a 501(c)(4) association led by Amy Creamer, prime supporter of Individuals for Trump. Participants included Trump, VP Pence, agents Jody Heiss, RGF, Jim Jordan, R. Gracious, and Andy Biggs, RAZ. Delegate choose Marjorie Taylor Greene, RGF, and individuals from the Trump lawful team. The motivation behind the gatherings was to plan how Congress could upset the political decision results on January 6. On December 18, 4 days after the discretionary school cast a ballot, Trump called for allies to go to a convention before the January 6 legislative vote buildup to proceed with his test of the legitimacy of a few states' political decision results. Trump tweeted, "Large dissent in D.C. on January 6. Be there will be wild." The Walk to Save America and rally that went before the mobs at the State House were at first coordinated by People for America Initial, a 501(c)(4) association led by Amy Creamer, prime supporter of Individuals for Trump. On January 1, 2021, they got a grant with an expected participation of 5,000 for a first revision rally, Walk for Trump. In late 2020 and mid-2021, Creamer coordinated and talked at a progression of occasions the nation over as a feature of a transport visit to empower participation at the January 6 convention and backing Trump's endeavors to upset the political decision result. Individuals for America originally welcomed its allies to join a procession of vehicles venturing out to the occasion. Occasion the Executives was completed by Occasion Techniques, an organization established by Tim Younes, who worked for Trump's 2016 official campaign. On January 2, Trump retweeted a post by Creamer advancing the January 6 meeting. adding that he would be there. Starting there, although Creamer held the license, arranging pass to the White House. Trump examined the talking setup and the music to be played at the occasion. Albeit the underlying arrangement for the meeting called for individuals to stay at the Oval until the counting of discretionary records was finished, the White House said they ought to walk to the Legislative Center, as Trump over and over encouraged during his discourse. The attack and its after effects. In the meantime, in a few tweets starting in mid-December, Trump urged his allies to go to a meeting and walk on January 6 to fight the vote-counting function. In one of the tweets, Trump expressed, "Be there will be wild," to discourses by Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani and Trump's children Donald, Jr., and Eric, among others. In his location, which started at about early afternoon, Trump rehashed very much worn deceptions and paranoid fears about the taken political race, approached Pence to obstruct Congress' affirmation of the discretionary school vote, pronouncing that, assuming Pence neglected to act, the convention group wouldn't allow the affirmation to occur. "We're simply not going to allow that to occur," urged the group to stroll down Pennsylvania Road to the Legislative Hall constructing, and encouraged his crowd to battle like damnation, or you won't have a nation any longer. Indeed, even before Trump completed his location soon after 1:00 p.m., and similarly as the joint meeting of Congress was being met, a horde of his allies, including individuals from conservative fanatic associations like the Please Young Men, the Vow Guardians, and the 3%ers, as well as self-recognized followers of the QAnon paranoid fear, pushed through walls at the western border of the Legislative Center grounds, driving Legislative Center cops to withdraw to extra blockades nearer to the structure, CUS. The 2020 U.S. political decision and U.S. official appointment of 2020, fallout, Trump's refusal to surrender, and the rebellion at the Legislative Center. The crowd developed bigger as always individuals showed up from the convention at which Trump had spoken. State House cops, alongside fortifications from the Metropolitan Police Division of the Region of Columbia, were overpowered. Many officials were severely beaten with lethal weapons, bats, lines, and banner shots, showered with compound aggravations, or squashed and stomped on by the flooding swarm. As the revolting went on outside, the joint meeting was briefly dismissed to permit the House and Senate to discuss a conservative test of the popularity-based record of voters from Arizona independently. By around 2:00 p.m., the agitators had penetrated the keep-going obstruction on the west side of the structure and were running up the Legislative Center advances and scaling the walls of the west patio. One more horde likewise had gotten through obstructions on the east side of the State House. 6 Jan attack on Capitol. Thursday, January 6, 2022, marks 1 year since the assault on the U.S. State House that disturbed a joint meeting of the U.S. Congress during the time spent confirming the official political decision results. The public authority keeps on exploring misfortunes that came about because of the break of the Legislative Center, including harm to the State House building and grounds, both inside and outside the structure. As indicated by a May 2021 gauge by the modeler of the State House, the assault caused roughly $1.5 million worth of harm to the U.S. State House building. Under the proceeded with initiative of the U.S. Lawyer's Office for the Area of Columbia and the FBI's Washington Field Office, the examination and indictment of those liable for the assault keep on pushing ahead at an exceptional speed and scale. The Division of Equity's purpose to consider responsible the people who carried out wrongdoings on January 6, 2021, has not and won't fade. Because of the public court records, underneath is a preview of the examination as of Thursday, December 30, 2021. Complete variants of the vast majority of the public court records used to aggregate these insights are accessible on the Legislative Center Break Examination Asset House Break Cases. 1. Arrests made. More than 725 litigants have been captured in essentially every one of the 50 states in the area of Columbia. This incorporates those charged in both locale and prevalent court. 2. Charges of criminal. More than 225 litigants have been accused of attacking, opposing, or hindering officials or representatives, including north of 75 people who have been accused of utilizing a lethal or hazardous weapon or making serious substantial injury to an official. B. Roughly 140 cops were attacked on January 6 at the State House, including around 80 U.S. State House police and around 60 from the Metropolitan Police Office. Roughly 10 people have been captured on a progression of charges that connect with attacking an individual from the media or obliterating their hardware on January 6. Roughly 640 litigants have been accused of entering or staying in a confined government building or grounds. More than 75 respondents have been accused of entering a limited region with a dangerous weapon. Over 45 litigants have been accused of annihilation of government property, and more than 30 respondents have been accused of burglary of government property. No less than 275 litigants have been accused of corruptly blocking, affecting, or hindering an authority continuing or endeavoring to do as such. Roughly 40 respondents have been accused of intrigue by the same token. A. Trick to impede a legislative procedure. B. Scheme to hinder policing a common issue. C. Trick to harm an official. Or D. A mix of the three. 3. Please. Roughly 165 people have confessed to various government charges, from wrongdoings to crime checks, a significant number of whom will confront detainment at condemnation. Around 145 have conceded to misdeeds. 20 have conceded to lawful offenses. 6 of the people who have conceded to crimes have argued charges connected with attacks on police. 4 face legal maximums of 20 years or more in jail, as well as possible monetary punishments. 2 have to carry out legal maximums of 8 years in jail, as well as likely monetary punishments. 4. Sentencing. Around 70 government litigants have had their cases arbitrated and gotten sentences for their crimes on January 6. 31 have been condemned to times of imprisonment. 18 have been condemned to a time of home detainment, and different litigants have been condemned to probation without any term of imprisonment. 5. Public help. Residents from around the nation have given priceless help with distinguishing people regarding the January 6 assault. The FBI keeps on looking for the public's assistance in distinguishing over 350 people accepted to have committed fierce follows up on the Legislative Center grounds, including north of 250 who attacked cops. Also, the FBI right now has 16 recordings of suspects needed for vicious attacks on government officials and 1 video of 2 suspects needed for attacks on individuals from the media on January 6 and is looking for the public's assistance to distinguish them. I hope you guys liked the video, and for more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. See you soon, goodbye.